This is your dose of daily market wisdom with master trader Nick Santiago. Starting from humble beginnings, Nick has been beating the markets for over 2 decades. He shares with you his take on the profitable trades that will have you moving towards financial freedom in no time at all. To see an in-depth review of his track record and much more, go to inthemoneystocks.com. Welcome. This is your daily dose of daily market wisdom with master trader Nick Santiago. I'm Kerry Lutz, and today is September 15th, 2020, show number 320. Well, Nick, I read, I think in Zero Hedge, this was like the biggest quadruple witching hour options expiration of all time. Did you see that?
No, I didn't see that, but this is definitely a big one and an important one at that.
Yeah, they said over $2 trillion worth of options are coming up for expiration.
Coming due this Friday. Yeah, you could see that. This has been one volatile trading week so far, and it actually even started last Wednesday. I've been noted my membership. I said, hey, I'm starting to see options expiration activity already last week because of the erratic moves that we were getting. And as you know, this is a quarterly expiration where you'll have 4 different asset classes expiring under the sun. It makes for a very, very volatile and choppy week, and I'd expect it going into the end of the week. But today is Whipsaw Wednesday, Kerry, so traders should be aware. Moves that when markets move up, they can suddenly move back down, and when markets are down, they can suddenly move back up. It's just when we call Whipsaw Wednesday is the most volatile trading day of the options expiration week.
Hey, so, and with what's going on, the volatility, everything else, China, it's unbelievable what's going on there. I don't know why anybody ever bought a Chinese stock anyway, Nick, because, look, we know that their accounting is, shall we charitably put it, as creative. And you can't, American companies cheat like crazy and nothing happens to them. But in China, they put our companies to shame.
Yeah, the accounting standards there are much, much different, and you could just call them basically very often an outright fraud. We've seen a lot of these Chinese stocks lately really get hammered to the downside. I think it's almost impossible to invest in China at this time. I have invested in a lot of Chinese ADRs in the past, but I won't touch them now. And if you do want to touch them, do it with an option. At least you know what you're risking, your premium paid for the option. But otherwise, I would not touch it. Seems like there's news out of the Chinese government each and every day. Today, we got news regarding the gaming industry that they're going to change the regulations or put in more regulations in Macau. And that hurt a lot of the casino stocks today. But it's not just them. Every day we hear something else. It could be the financial stocks. A couple of weeks back, it was the online education stocks. Prior to that, it was the gaming stocks. It just doesn't stop. And it seems like every time you turn around, every single day, you hear about a new regulation or some kind of rhetoric coming out of the Chinese government. It makes these stocks impossible to invest at this time. They're really uninvestable.
And it really looks like the Chinese government is panicking, Nick.
They could be. And, this morning, funny enough, I turned on the financial news, which I don't even watch much these days. And I saw Kyle Bass, who's really been very adamant about talking, about how bad things are in China. And he was out there. And then you have other people like Ray Dalio, who owns the world's largest hedge fund. And, he's very pro-China. So, you get all of these competing voices out there on investing in China. But right now, as far as I'm concerned, I won't touch a Chinese ADR.
Yeah, that's for sure. And they got the largest real estate collapse taking place today. Interestingly enough, it's the 13th anniversary of the collapse of Lehman Brothers. And this company looks like they've got $300 billion worth of debt and not a lot to back it up. And they got people rioting all over the country, upset that they're going to be losing money. And the Chinese really don't know how to deal with this.
Yeah, I really, it's Evergrande, and I don't know how they're going to deal with it myself. It's quite something, but we're continuing to see China have major issues, major problems. And each and every day, there's something else coming out of there. And I have to say, I don't think I really have seen anything quite like this. Listen, I haven't seen anything quite like 2021, to be honest. But I don't really think that that the Chinese are really prepared for what can actually take place. It's really pretty remarkable to see some of these stocks the way they are. But when I look at the Shanghai Composite, the index is actually hanging in there pretty well. And that's what's really amazing to me. But I guess anything can happen when you print money.
Yeah. Yeah, just keep printing and printing. I mean, they've actually printed more than the United States. It's been a veritable tsunami of liquidity, and it's just like they just can't create enough. They can't do it fast enough.
Well, I think it was Ben Bernanke that actually started that whole money printing scheme called quantitative easing. And you see, like, China has adopted it almost masterfully. So again, this is what we're looking at. And, I would just tell everybody, steer clear of the Chinese ADRs for now until you get some clarity there. But it doesn't look good for the foreseeable future.
Yeah, they just had a major quake in, there was a quake in China, some landslides and stuff. They've had to blow up a number of dams, and a number of dams have collapsed. Their flooding season is even worse than last year. So we'll see what that will bring. So in the meantime, Bitcoin spiking up a little bit.
Yeah, Bitcoin actually is hanging in there pretty well today. I believe it's sitting around 47,700. But remember, this has been all over the map and, still stuck right below that 50,000 range. So we'll see, what kind of pattern it could make by the end of the week. That'll give me a little bit more clarity. But right now, I don't really love the setup here for Bitcoin. You had that big thrust down on the 7th of September. That was a big fall. It went sub 45,000 intraday, winded up closing that day on the futures at around 46,700. And you're right around that range right now. But as long as you're inside of that big red sell-off day from September, you got to be a little bit cautious with Bitcoin now.
All right. And gold and silver getting hammered a little bit today?
Yeah, I mean, right now, gold is down 11.5 points, trading at around 1795.5. Then you have silver trading at around 23.79. That's down about 9 or 10 cents. So you are getting the precious metals to come under a little bit of pressure today. I don't know if I could make too much out of those patterns right now. I like silver better than gold at the moment. So that's a little bit, I think there's a little bit more upside, but both should have some near-term pops, but nothing major. Silver should be a bit stronger though than gold.
And remember the last time it got slammed was during the quadruple witching hour back in June. So could well happen here, huh?
Well, I'm not expecting it, but I never rule anything out during an options X week. It's a week where markets can do a lot of crazy things. You just never know what's on the agenda there for the big institutions that move the market. So again, somebody always knows something. I only could look at the charts and read the patterns, but overall, I never ever try to guess what can take place during a quad witch.
All right. Well, I think we will leave it at that. Make sure you go over to inthemoneystocks.com and see how Nick has been beating the averages all these years. And make sure you look at the Twitter feeds at ITMS, at Nick Santiago01, at Kerry Lutz. Send us your emails to kl@kerrylutz.com. And Nick, we'll talk to you on Friday.
Sounds good, Kerry.
And so concludes another episode of Daily Market Wisdom with Master Trader Nick Santiago. Be sure to go to his website, inthemoneystocks.com. Don't forget the Twitter feeds at ITMS and at Nick Santiago01.